everyone's hands up, please, with all the cameras. So
Steve, just generally to win this game without Jimmy Butler, what does that tell you about kind of where you are as a team and who rose up to take that spot?
Yeah, it's a big-time win. I mean, you could see we were out of sorts early. With Jimmy out, we changed the starting lineup. We went to some combinations that we've barely played all year, and it took a while for us to find some rhythm. But I thought what kept us in the game was our defense. They got up, I guess, 13 at the most, but these days 13 doesn't feel like that big of a deficit. And I thought the key to the game was the way we closed the second quarter, to pull within 3 and get some momentum, and we felt pretty good at halftime as a result.
To follow up on that, obviously you said you tried some combinations, JK being in one of those. What do you think it is that's keeping him out of rhythm, and could you speak to the fact that Buddy?
I'm sorry,
what do you think it is that's keeping him from finding a rhythm out there, and once he's kind of being put in that role with Jimmy Butler out? And then what do you think helped Buddy Hield to find a groove, and of course GP2 to find a groove?
Yeah, every game's different. JK could come in next game and have a monster game, and he missed 3 games. We didn't play him 3 games. That's not an easy thing to do, and I thought he came in and gave us important minutes. Buddy is. He's a guy who's one of the best shooters in the league, and he's always capable of making shots. And because of the constant blitzing of Steph, it opened up the floor, and we finally figured out, how to space the floor and get the ball swung in that blitz. We were much better with that in the second half than we were in the first, and Buddy got some good looks and made some big shots.
Just wonder if you could kind of give a bigger picture look at Buddy, and just, at times he can be kind of the butt of jokes, almost in a funny way, partly because of his personality. But, I mean, you mentioned it. He's one of the most prolific three-point shooters ever. It seems like he flipped the game tonight.
Buddy flipped it. Gary Payton flipped it, both those guys. But everybody contributed. Quentin had 12 rebounds. We had Moses come in and make a huge 3 in the second half. But this is what the playoffs are about. They're about injuries and they're about guys stepping up. And we had both today. With Jimmy being out, you have to be able to withstand that and win a game here and there. We've done that for many years. We've had some of our most important guys, miss multiple games in series. So this is what you have to do. You got to find a way, and our guys did that today.
How would you describe Steph's performance and then just the degree of difficulty involved with that?
I don't know. Just whatever I've said the last 11 years after every one of these games, just copy and paste. He's incredible.
Steve, to get Brooks in foul trouble early, and he had 4 by halftime, just that made a big difference too, didn't it, for you guys?
Yeah, I don't even pay attention to that stuff, honestly. They got a lot of good defenders. They got a lot of good players. They're a deep team. So the main thing was, like I said, just hanging in there and withstanding their run in the first half. We probably went 7 minutes with maybe 1 basket, it felt like, and that was the key stretch. And, they're going to bring in a lot of guys who can play. And so I don't even pay attention, honestly, to who's in foul trouble, who's out there. We have to respond and play.
The hustle plays down the stretch, it seemed like. I mean, Gary had everybody seemed to have the plays that came up with loose balls that led to more shots. Did you like?
Yeah, I mean, we had more second chance points than they did. 18 to 11, and that's kind of stunning given the way the first 2 games went. But it was an indication of our energy, our physicality, guys flying around. So a lot of guys. Tracked the ball, chased it down, got us extra possessions. I think we had 10 offensive boards. So, a lot of good hustle plays.
Steve, what was the key to holding Jalen Green to just 9 points after he had such a big game too? Was there something, a change or an adjustment you guys made?
I just thought we were a little more aggressive. I thought we gave him too much separation in game 2. They did a good job of getting him downhill and creating space, and we did a better job tonight of taking away some of his space.
Steve, we could copy and paste, but this was a little bit different of a Steph performance in terms of the grittiness, knowing what they were trying to do to him, and just to almost have a triple-double. Can you elaborate at all?
Want me to give you more than
I do.
copy and paste? I mean, he's Steph Curry. He's one of the greatest players of all time. He's 37. He's one of the most well-conditioned athletes I've ever seen in my life. To play 41 minutes against that kind of defense, to have a slow start and then find his rhythm, which we've seen him do, countless times over the years, to hit big shots, to only turn it over twice against that kind of pressure. He was brilliant. So I hope that was a better quote than the first one.
Coach, just talk about Gary's just roller coaster of a season and just what it meant to him for him to give that kind of performance with Jimmy out.
Well, look, Gary, we won the championship in 2022, and Gary flipped the whole series against Boston. We're going against all those great offensive players. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown and Derek White, and Gary misses game one, and then he arrives after the injury, for game two, and we win 4 of the next 5. Like, that's not a coincidence. Gary is one of the best defensive players in the league, and he's a really dynamic roller. And so we've seen this. We've seen what Gary's capable of doing at the highest level. And he knew he didn't have a great trip in Houston, didn't play particularly well in either game. And so he was kind of due, and I thought he just made massive plays in that fourth quarter and helped us close the game.
Steve, a quick two-parter. The first one, you said you finally figured out, or you guys finally figured out how to space out and get Steph open, beat the blitz. What exactly did you do to do that? And the second part?
Yeah, it's just about spacing. If they're going to commit to Steph, you have to be spaced. And then the guys who are on the perimeter have to give Steph an outlet. And I thought in the first half we were bunched up. We had, a few possessions where we had everybody on the left side of the floor, nobody on the right, and there's no outlet for Steph. And so that's why we got scattered, and we had some turnovers and some near turnovers. Once we got spaced out, now there's an outlet against the blitz, and we're fine.
Okay, one more quick one. Jimmy Butler seemed super engaged on the bench during the whole game. What was he doing? What was he giving you guys? I know you weren't focused on that, but
yeah. Well, first he had a fantastic coat on, so I thought he was going to be way too hot in that thing. But no, Jimmy is he's just he's so smart. He reminds me so much of Andre Iguodala. Incredible basketball IQ, and then the ability to communicate what he's seeing to his teammates from the bench. I thought Jimmy was really important for us tonight in that regard. I mean, he was talking to guys throughout the game and giving them advice, giving some help, and that was big.
Steve, when Steph is playing like this over here, when Steph is playing like this in a game, like you don't have Jimmy coming from the start, and Steph catches fire in the second half. What do you think it does for? Well, what did it do for you and your coaching staff, and what do you think it does for his teammates to see him carrying this team along like he did?
Well, this is what superstars do, in playoff games. You can't win games without, the great players in the league. When you go deep, the playoffs get tougher and tougher, and the great players just give the whole team confidence, and that's what Steph does.
Hey, Steve, how close was Jimmy to going today, and do you expect to have him for Game 4?
He's literally day to day. So, we have tomorrow off. It'll be helpful for him to have another day, and then it's a night game, so he gets a few extra hours. So we'll see. I have no idea right now if he's going to play. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fred had a really hot start there and then scored only 4 points in the last 3 quarters. What were they doing, if anything, to take him out of the game? And why do you think that he hasn't been as much of a scoring factor in this series so far?
Well, we've been going after him and Jalen quite a bit in the pick and rolls. They kind of hawking them full court. When they do put two bodies on the ball, we didn't do a good enough job making them pay tonight. As you saw, I think we were 19 for 48 in the paint. That's not good enough. Point blank layups or floaters or making the right read from there. You got to convert those. They did with Payton and Green slipping out, and we didn't.
What was the impetus for a lot of that blitzing and trapping? Do you feel like you can't really guard Curry as much one-on-one?
No, it's not one-on-one. It's the pick and roll.
Is the way you want to go about that?
Yeah, we've gone after them quite a bit and make the others have to beat us. When they have certain lineups out there, it's favorable to force it to the other guys and make them beat us. I think Payton hit a big one tonight when they were up one, and that's a gamble we're going to take at times. But something we've done quite a bit is gone after him, and it's obviously worked out well enough, and they haven't scored over 100 in a few games.
Coach, the last 5 minutes or so, they're forcing you into a lot of tough shots, contested shots. What did you see on the offensive end for you guys down the stretch where you weren't quite able to score to keep up?
Yeah, they upped their physicality on defense, and then when we did have the good looks, like I said, we missed a lot of point-blank stuff at the basket, little floaters and some layups, and so they did what they did all game. We did what we did all game, and Payton and some of their guys rolling out made plays, and we didn't.
Coach, you mentioned the issues that you guys had tonight. Do you feel they're easily correctable as we look ahead to Monday? And did tonight feel in any way like a little bit of a missed opportunity, considering they were without Butler tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we know they're still dangerous without Butler, so that doesn't change anything as far as that. I think it's something we've seen all year. Teams go after Jalen. Obviously, had a big game last game, so we expected that coming in. And when you does his job and has two on the ball and gets it to guys, they have to make them pay behind it. And so, nothing new as far as that. Like I said, teams have done it all year, and their gamble paid off. We didn't make them pay with that, especially with the paint shots. And so, something you can easily correct is obviously taking care of the ball a little bit better, finding the outlets out of that and making them pay. And it's a gamble on both sides when both teams are blitzing each other. And like I said, their guys made a few more plays than ours tonight.
Coach, over here, they've Ime Thompson's had some struggles in this series, in this game specifically. They've been guarding with the center. How do you feel about the way he's been playing offensively and what you can do to get him going?
Yeah, he was one of the guys that missed quite a few, easy opportunities tonight. We use him in each way, as a handler, as a screener, and every other way. And so, he had some rolls in the pocket, brought him up and set the screen, and he can get out in the pocket. And like I said, he didn't convert a lot of those easy ones. And so we do use them several different ways, obviously handling and playing in the dunker and setting screens. And so there's a lot of ways to move around on the court. And when he's in attack mode getting downhill, they do put a bigger body on him. They still collapse the paint. You got to find his outlets there. And so felt like he got in trouble, penetrated a little bit too much and missed some of the kickouts.
The Warriors ended up with an advantage in second chance points tonight. You didn't play this double big lineup all that much. Do you feel like that might have helped to combat some of the rebounding issues?
No, I think that was a big thing for sure, that they beat us in that area. We were up 3 at half, and they had the lead as far as that, and I think it was 16-4 overall, second chance points. And so area we can't get hurt, and there was a lot of their wings crashing, so it wasn't as much, I wouldn't say Looney or their big bodies. It was a lot of wings coming and crashing. So do a good job scrambling, making them miss shots, so we got to come up with those rebounds and stops. Thank you.
And then was the game plan on Curry tonight any different than what you guys tried to do against him the last two games? And why do you think he was able to spring loose so much there in the second quarter and second half?
Nah, nothing different. Just he started hitting some tough shots, and then we didn't execute our coverages the way we wanted to, so he went off. So yeah.
I mean, what seemed to be the issue with you and Alpy as well is missing some of those close range shots at the rim tonight?
Just touch felt off today. Wasn't making shots I work on all the time. I know I make. Yeah.
Draymond were having some sort of exchange on the court. What was going on there?
Just talking. You know, Steph had a good game. The reason they won. It was just talking. You know, he can't really do much of anything else, so talking is his only way.
Why was Steph able to get free tonight in ways where, you know, when you guys even have been here in the regular season, you were able to contain him?
Our rotations was just pretty poor today. We got to be better at rotations. We know what to do. We've done it before. We just got to get back to that. Yeah.
Jalen, what were they doing different tonight to take you, try to take you out of the game?
It seemed like they was just balling every time. Came off a screen. Nothing different, loading up. I feel like was making the right reads. We just got hit shots. It was one of them games we didn't score well. Put a ball in the basket, and the defense was good enough. We had them to 95 until the last 3 minutes of the game. We just gotta score the ball. Once we mix that in with playing defense, it's our game.
Draymond over here on the left, on your right, I'm sorry. Just sort of following up on that, GP had a good game a couple weeks ago, and I wrote about him and about playing with Steph. And he said he follows your blueprint on that in terms of how to screen for him, because GP's obviously really good at playing with Steph, and the numbers bear that out. What have you seen about what makes him so effective alongside Steph?
He just really knows how to find his spots. He knows how to use Steph to get things for himself. And I think that's big. Anytime you can learn, he's smart. You learn how to play off of Steph, it makes the game a lot easier for you. So anytime you can pick up on those things and, play great out. Steph, he just has so much gravity. His gravity on the court is incredible. So if you learn how to play off that, it kind of puts you at an advantage. And G's been great at that for years now, so it's great that it showed up at a good time for us.
Were you surprised that they used the blitz and trap so much, and is that something you then welcome if they do that?
No, I wasn't surprised, especially with Jimmy out. They want to try to take Steph out of the game, so I wasn't surprised, but I thought we did a good job countering it.
Buddy's often, I don't know, like the storylines around him are about his personality, his quirks, flaws, but how about as a player, what he's given you guys this season? I think he played all 82, and what he's given you tonight.
He was huge tonight. Plus 14, shot the ball well, aggressive, really good defensively. That's why I think he was signed to, a 4-year deal or something like that? Just because of what Mike and our group thought that he could bring to this team. And he's been solid for us all year. It's always more, the only thing people see is the game, but you don't see, we spend far more time together off the court than the amount of game time we have. And so all of that stuff makes a difference. And he's huge in the locker room. He's huge on the plane. He's just for the aura of this team, he's big. And, right behind Steph in three-pointers over the last 10 years for a reason. He can really shoot the basketball, and tonight we were able to get him some good looks. He knocked them down, but he was really big for us tonight. It was great to see him get that game under his belt, and now we look forward to him continuing to build on it.
Draymond, we didn't get a chance to talk to you yesterday. I don't know if you saw Dylan Brooks was defending Ime Thompson, but also then called you a dirty player. I was wondering what your response was to that.
I don't have one.
And then over here, did you make a comment about Jalen Green's nails post-game, and did he take umbrage to that, if so?
I'm not sure what he took to, but it was a good win for us.
GP2, everyone that's come in here and spoke highly of your game and how you turned things around for the Warriors. You did that again tonight with a big spark. What did that for you? How did that happen in the second half? Just kind of take me through that.
Just be aggressive. Know how they're going to play me. Usually have the big on me, so we going to work. Go up there, try to get Steph open. They want to blitz Steph. Just slip out and make plays in the pocket. If they don't step up, go be aggressive. If they do, just hit the open guy.
Gary, I just saw your dad, and I said, 11 points, 11 of your 16 points in the fourth, and he said, he's got to be special. He's got to be special. What are those conversations like, and just in terms of taking advantage of your minutes and making something happen?
Like I said, just being aggressive. I know how they're going to play me, and it's the first time I'm hearing him say I'm special. So well, thank you for that. I'm going to ask him about that.
Oh, you are special. Also, just the hustle plays and the ball movement, it seemed like you were able to get some good looks. And just Steve mentioned the spacing being so crucial to Steph, taking some better looks, too.
Absolutely, yeah. We were a little bunched up in the first half, so we emphasized on being spaced and having corners filled and letting Steph, pick who he wants to pick on and, just give him space and opportunity to make plays and just be available for him. So just being space available, if they want to collapse on 30 and he hits the open guy, we just got to make open shots.
Gary, two quick ones. How much does that play into your hands when a team sells out on stuff like that? Because as we've talked about in the past, you thrive on playing with him.
Oh, yeah. Just stay ready so you don't have to get ready. It's just another corner three for me, by myself. So just take my time and, do what I've been doing, working on corner threes and, just knock them down. They go in when they matter, so that's all I care about.
And can you describe that foul? It looked like almost an open field block of Dylan Brooks. And did you note the irony of that, I guess?
Which one are you talking about?
Late in the game when you were sort of in the open court. And you were,
I didn't see him.
Gary, what was the key to taking away the Rocket space? It seemed like today they were trying to play in a phone booth.
Yeah, game two, we gave them a little too much space. They got open looks and went where they wanted to go. So just to, kill that space and just make it tough and muggy for them and, try to make them make plays, down stretch. And, we was able to create turnovers and go the other way and capitalize. So we continue that for the rest of the series. I think we'll be in a good look.
Does a win like this over Houston without Jimmy, provide the group extra confidence moving forward?
Absolutely. We had to have Jimmy's back, while he was out. So hopefully we get Jimmy back for Game 4 and, we get back to our regular scheduled program. You guys are great.
Fred, you were saying the other night how, you've had your share of chasing stuff around in big games. What was different tonight that allowed him to kind of spring free the way that he did?
I mean, we're not going to hold him to 3 points every time we play him. I think we got to understand that. It's one of the all-time greats. I thought our coverages were a little slow tonight. Some of the switching, some of the physicality was just a touch down from, how we had it ramped up the previous game. But, this is the playoffs. Again, all about adjustments and chess match and, different things. So they were prepared. I thought they executed at a higher level than we did. And sometimes, that's all it comes down to. So he got some clean looks, more so than we would like. So we got to try to limit his opportunities and make his life a little bit harder out there. But obviously, that's a tough cover.
You often talk about the best way to experience, I think, is to go through it. For a young team that's never been in this kind of position, Game 3 on the road in a hostile environment, how important was it for this team to just experience the moment and learn from that?
Yeah, I don't really want to use that right now. we need to get these wins, you know what I mean? It's a true statement for sure, and it makes it tough, you know what I'm saying? You can't really have that viewpoint and while you're in the middle of it. But, yes, all of these are great experiences and great learning moments for our group. Great tests, no better challenge than these guys at home after a loss.
and we had our chances. So we had a great chance to get out of here with a win. We didn't do that. We got to bounce back. It's a quick turnaround, and we'll be right back here on Monday, ready to go again.
Fred, you've seen these guys 8 times this year now. So, and it's like you know what they're gonna, bring at you every time. What makes it so tough to deal with, though?
Well, I think styles make fights, and I think that's true for basketball especially, and schemes and the way that we guard and the way that they run our offense and the way that they guard and the way we run our offense, it just makes for tough on both ends. It's nasty out there, as you can see. You know what I mean? There's no love lost, and attention to detail's got to be at an all-time high. Can't lose focus, can't take plays off, and both teams, trying to find ways to win. And tonight just felt like, the first to 100 was going to win, and obviously they got there first. But we lost points in the paint, second chance points, and the fast break points. So that's not really a great formula for us in the way we like to play. It's going to be hard to win like that.
Fred, just to state the obvious, when you have a guy like Jimmy not be available, does this hit even harder for you guys because of that when you have the opportunity to go up 2-1? But also within that, when did you find out that he wouldn't be playing? It didn't make it tricky at all in terms of getting ready for this one?
No, I think we prepared. I'm going to answer the second question first. We prepared as if he was going to play. We were ready to go. You can't play that game of who's playing and who's not playing. You got to be ready to go. And I think every chance you don't win game you feel like you could win is a missed opportunity. Obviously, Jimmy adds another layer to that because they're a different team without him. But, I mean, Gary Payton stepped up tonight. Buddy Hield was huge. Both of those guys off the bench played real key minutes. Kuminga stepped in there and had some good minutes for them. So this is an experienced group that they have. It's been a good team for the second half of the year. And we knew that they were going to respond with the guy out, as any good team will. There's no scrubs in the playoffs right now. So, yes, it's definitely a missed opportunity. But, we can't really have that viewpoint. It's got to bounce back and get ready for Monday.
Fred, you know this group well, and the way you talk about this group, you believe in them deeply. What about this group tells you guys will handle this, learn from this quickly, and then turn the page and go forward and make the necessary adjustments going into Game 4?
That's what we always do. As you check the track record, we bounce back every time. A little hard-headed, a little young at times. So sometimes you got to bump your head, but I've loved our resolve. I've loved, our togetherness and our commitment to being great. And no matter if we stumble or make mistakes or miss an opportunity as we did today, we have short-term memory. That's where the youth comes into play at, to just move on and get to the next game. And I believe in this team wholeheartedly that we'll be ready to go on Monday, lace them up, and try to get this one.
I think you scored 13 of the team's first 20 points. How important is your rhythm in terms of the overall pace in the half court, and do you see that carrying over to Game 4?
Yeah, I'm just still trying to find it. Every team guards me differently. Obviously, they're familiar with me, and I know that they're going to guard me a certain type of way. I think it was important for Jalen to get going in Game 2. I knew that it was going to be a different atmosphere, so I wanted to get off to a good start for us and just to settle us down and give us a shot. And then try to work the rest of the guys in. So that was key. It was good to see a couple go in, and got to build on that next game.
Fred, you're playing against a team that has a lot of playoff experience, but also a lot of veterans on that team that's trying to get in the head of some of your young guys who are experiencing this for the first time. How important is it for you and your role to make sure that you keep the young guys level-headed and don't let them get caught into those type of antics?
Yeah, it's been a topic of conversation. Obviously, we know what that brings to the game, but I would just say we got some loose cannons on our team too. So. We deal with it all year. We go at each other in practice. You know what I mean? It's a part of the game. Some guys like to trash talk. Some guys don't really do it. But as long as we focus on the basketball, we execute at a high level, and it doesn't take away from what we're trying to do and compete. I think the ultimate trash talk is to get the win. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing, is to get the win and to win this series. And as long as that's everybody's number one goal, number one focus, the rest of it, you in the flow, you in the fight of the game. We're not going to back down from anybody. I think that's understood by now. And the rest is just, can we execute at a high enough level to get wins?
Freddie, you just kind of touched on it there, but you kind of got between Jalen and great Draymond before at the right at the end. Can you say what kind of prompted that kind of exchange there, and what did you see there?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing. On to the next.
I know you pride yourself on being an unselfish player, and there's ways to impact the game beyond scoring, but how have the Warriors been guarding you that has made it difficult for you to impact the game in that way? And you know, at some point, even though you want these young guys to succeed, you kind of, as the veteran, want to step up and kind of shoulder more of a scoring load in this series?
Yeah, it'll be time for it. It's a time and a place for it. I've tried to dance on that line all year. And I think that the best version of this team is when everybody's contributing and everybody's in flow and in rhythm, and Jalen and Alpi are playing at a high level as a duo, and the rest of us are making shots and making plays on the back end of that. Now, there's times and places where I have to play better. I have to make shots at a higher clip. I have to find rhythm and find ways to be more aggressive. But obviously, if I'm getting 2 on the ball at 28, 30 feet, I feel like I've done my job for that possession. If I can draw a mismatch and I can draw a best defender and there's opportunities for other guys, I feel like I've done my job on that possession. So there's different ways to attack. I have to be better 1,000%. And if I make 2 more shots, we probably win game 1. If I make a couple more tonight, we probably get out of here with a win. So that's totally on me for sure. Thank you, guys.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Are we ready? But if you can just kind of speak to like how you got that spark, especially in the second half, to kind of willed you guys to that win tonight.
I know Robin was out tonight, so I had to step up. That was it. I had to be in Alfred tonight. I know Jimmy's out. And just knows at stake. You don't want to go down 2-1 in the series, especially at home in our first playoff game here. Want to make an impression and match the physicality and just come out and make shots. We're lacking making shots and just trying to be a spark plug for this team and do all the right things I can be and be efficient as I can.
But you haven't played in very many playoff games in your career. How much are you sort of savoring this opportunity to have a chance on this kind of stage?
Just taking it in possession by possession, just learning. Intensity is fun, is great, especially being out there with great players like Steph and Draymond and the coaching staff helping me. But you just got to enjoy the moment, seize the moment, and you can't be shy. When opportunity comes, you got to be out there and just fire it and be free.
Buddy, Steve said that you guys figured out the spacing tonight. In your mind, what did that mean? Like, what changed?
Just spacing, just being when they put 2 on the ball, just sliding to open spots where the guy who's rolling to make the guy who's tagging make a decision. Either he's going to give up a layup or give up a 3. And my job as a shooter is just be in a space where find a window where I can get a clean look, and if they run me up the line, be able to drive that gap in and kick it back out.
Buddy, what is Jimmy Butler like as a coach on the bench when he's not playing in these games? Terrible
advice. Terrible advice. I just was like throwing him out the whole time. He's being good. He's being positive. He's telling me how to read drives. Except for that one time I get picked by Steven Adams. He just gave me that look, and I was like, yo, don't even talk about it. Yeah. But he's been good. He's just talking and just encouraging everybody, and just especially when Draymond get attacked, he was letting everybody know that was good for our team. He go down and get us going, and that was big. It changed the game for us.
Buddy, what does it do for you over to your left? What does it do for you and your teammates when you watch Steph do his thing, like in a game like this when Jimmy ain't out there?
Steph, I said it earlier, he sees these type of moments. I've watched him my whole life from college to now, and in the previous playoff runs he's been on, and watching him against his physical team, he embraces that, he thrives off that, and you look at him as smaller than everybody, but he goes there and he's a competitor, and that's one thing you love about him. He's competing to give you all every night.
Buddy, you mentioned earlier you got to be free and let fly. How much of that attitude do you think explains your career and your success? I mean, one of the reasons the Warriors seem to value you is even if you miss shots, you're going to keep shooting, and that space and the value that adds, even if you're not making a lot of them.
Right. Just next shot mentality. You can't think about it. If you think about it, then it's going to mess your whole mind up. And shooters, we have bad days and good days, but today was a good day for sure. Just keep building off this one.
Plezzy's way better. Sorry.
I've never even seen these before. Oh, it's all good. Added some seats.
Steph, you can just take us through, obviously, a tough battle down to the end, but you were able to kind of wield everybody to win tonight. Steve Kerr saying that you were the best conditioned.
I'm sorry. This is not directed to you. We have a class clown in the building right now.
That's always clowning
Oh
me,
my
so I
God.
feel like this is directed towards me.
It is not. I don't want to
joke
be
here.
disrespectful or rude. You asking a very legitimate question, and then somebody in the back of the room is
He says my
having their
questions should
moment.
be shorter. Is that it? Yep. Okay.
Keep going.
Let me shorten this.
No, I promise you,
You had a
it had
great
nothing to do
game.
with you at all.
Okay,
I promise you, it had nothing to do with
I'm
you.
saying security.
He is calling my phone because he heard a drop on the floor and trying to distract me.
gosh,
Sorry,
I'm so
keep
done.
going.
Okay. You had a great game tonight. What happened there?
That's beautiful. This series is, I mean, it's all over the place. It's not going to be, I'll call it a beautiful brand of basketball just because of the matchup and the defensive intensity and the physicality. But for us to withstand a rough start shooting the ball and finding flow, obviously without Jimmy, it takes a little bit of patience to figure out rotations, and everybody's asked to do a little something different. And, we gave ourselves a chance by weathering the storm in the first quarter, and then we closed out the second quarter with that run that kept it close. And then, we've had the number one defense for a while. Obviously, that's been with Jimmy, but the mentality and the attention to detail gave us a chance to get over the hump in the second half, and we finished the game strong. GP was unbelievable in the fourth quarter, Draymond defensively, so it all came together.
Buddy's had kind of an up and down season at times, but not only how important was he tonight, but when you're being defended at times the way you are, how crucial is the spacing he just provides when he's in the lineup?
It's huge. We try to keep the game simple and to the point of how they're guarding me. If they're going to send a trap or double team or blitz or pick and roll, and I get off of it, if we're spaced properly, Buddy's a guy that demands attention. You can't leave him open. And if he has a little bit of daylight, he's got to be able to take those and knock them down. Moses hit a big one in the fourth, I think, at the beginning of the quarter. So those two guys are threats on the wing, but Buddy especially, that's what he's done in his whole career. So for him to have a game like he did and shoot the ball the way he did, give defensive effort, plus 14, that's big time.
Stephen, how does knowing that Jimmy is going to be out, how does that impact how you make any adjustment, whether it's physical or mental, knowing that he's not going to be there?
There was just a moment in the second quarter where I had to kind of get a little bit more assertive and not let the double teams and the traps take me out of possessions. I only had 4 shots in the first quarter, and, usually that can work to our advantage if we're moving the ball and guys are getting open looks, but we weren't. It didn't seem like there was a lot of flow, so I did kind of force the issue a little bit in the second quarter and got going. Thankfully, hit some shots. But just trying to manage the game, while I'm out there and understand where to pick and choose my spots, because you can't just, go crazy the whole game. Playing 41 minutes, you got to be able to understand, the flow and when to, look for your shot, when to get the ball out of the trap and let things happen on the back end. So it's similar to when Jimmy's there, but that little bit in the second quarter was, understand we need to get some energy and some life going.
Draymond was in here earlier, and he said that you kind of recognized that maybe he didn't have his usual energy, and so you kind of took it upon yourself to pick it up, and guys kind of followed that. Did you sense any of that? Is there an unspoken message to what you're trying to do to your teammates when you're trying to do something like that?
No, I'm just trying to win, whatever it takes. We've been in these situations plenty of times, and Draymond specifically, he's picked me up plenty of times, and it might not be saying anything or demonstrative. It's just how you play. You understand the moment. So just trying to win no matter how it looks.
Stephen, how helpful is Jimmy in that role? I mean, Steve compared him to a little bit to Andre when it comes to basketball smarts and seeing things. And what did you think of that full-length fur coat that he pulled off?
I almost didn't need a hot pack on the sideline sitting next to him. There's plenty of heat emanating from him. But yeah, he's a savvy veteran, high IQ guy. He's got a presence, whether he's on the active or not, where his voice matters, and we needed him to lift everybody up on the bench and give us that energy. So his presence matched the fit for sure.
Steph, 2 questions for you. Is there a number?
You want to call me or text me? You want to we can do this later.
Yeah, I got you here. Is there a number of shots that let you know if you're being like aggressive enough? Like, do you say, all right, but based on what we need, I should get up this number of shots? And secondly, when the defense is defending you the way they are, like, how do you manage that? Is it more of a physical battle, or is it more of a mental or emotional battle?
It's the second one. It's all the above. Because you can't give in to, again, the traps and blitzes. Knowing the pick and roll can help us get some motion going, whether it's me taking a shot or you create a 4-on-3 on the backside. But it is physically taxing because you're handling the pressure on the ball. You're trying to read where the big is, where certain driving gaps might be, or where the pass is. So you got to be locked in, all mentally, physically, emotionally. Be patient, knowing if it doesn't happen early, it's a 48-minute game, and I do pride myself on endurance to be able to, finish as strong as you might start and feel as good in the fourth quarter as I do in the first quarter. The shots is not really a number, but when you're getting taken out of the game, there's a feeling. 4 shots in the first, and 2 of them were kind of tough threes. You got to find a way to get get free and get loose a little bit to keep the defense honest. It's not saying we don't have guys that can finish on the back end, but if I'm aggressive, then you get a situation where GP gets a backdoor cut because 2 guys go after me because I made a couple shots. Like, you got to make sure you keep them honest.
Steph, you've talked often about what good teams do. Without Jimmy, what did you learn about this team today that you can only learn in a playoff situation like today?
We had one task. I don't know hopefully he's back next game, or if he's not, we can still play at a high level. We can win a tough, physical playoff game. I think we all know we're trying to win 14 more of these. We need Jimmy to do that. But if there's, a situation where somebody's not available, next man up mentality it's got to be a belief and a confidence. 2 months ago, I don't know if we had that.
Seen Jimmy's Instagram post?
Elite.
Are you embracing this Batman idea he's really pushing?
You can call it whatever you want to. I just know I need to play at a high level for us to win, and so does he, so does Draymond, so does everybody. So whatever you want to call me, I'll embrace it, and hopefully it keeps happening. He's tried to push that as the butler. He's tried to push that on Jimmy, which is kind of funny. So the only comparison is the post he has. I've actually used that when I'm like a last-minute tea time and I need my guys to show up. I'll throw up that exact picture, and whoever answers it gets the places in the tea time. So it's kind of funny now. It's kind of coming back full circle. Nah, he made that on his own. I don't know if I can give him any royalties for the Curry brand sales we're going to have the other side, but I do appreciate it.
Hey, Steph, there was, I think, a medical stoppage at the end of the game, toward the end of the game. You were bleeding?
Oh yeah, just a little scratch.
I'm just wondering, what has the physical toll been like these first 3 games of this series?
It's been up there compared to any other series we've been in, but I love it as long as it's consistent on both sides. You can play through some of that stuff, but if there's like egregious wraps or holds, which there were a couple in the first 2 games and they weren't called, like that gets a little dicey. But it's the playoffs. You try to not let it distract you and frustrate you if a call doesn't go your way or not. Play through it. Don't look for bailouts, and usually good things happen over 48.
Just one more question on Buddy. He has like a unique personality, unique sense of humor. Do you have any favorite stories that come to mind of him off the court, behind the scenes in practice, on planes, of him just making you laugh?
It's too many to count, man. The good news, I don't have a specific story, but it's just the energy and the presence he has. He's got his Bahamian accent, and, you can hear him from a mile away. Anytime we come in, he's got like this little monologue he does when he's feeling good, and it's like his a little bit of his native tongue kind of vibe, and he kind of goes and rolls with it, and we all it's at a high volume, so no matter where you're at, you hear him. But we love the consistency because he just is having fun. He's spontaneous. He loves basketball. He works. And if it goes his way or not, he's kind of the same guy.
Hey, Steph, I was wondering, did Robin turn into Yogi Bear when he came out with that big coat? But
this is getting crazy. I freaking love it.
Have you guys, did you talk about this injury? You had similar injuries and the recovery process and what he might expect, or how long it would take to come back from that? Yes and no.
Like, they're all very unique because the angle you land, how the severity of the impact. We have kind of different body types too, so there's a similarity, but there's also, each one is such a unique case that it's hard for any of us to really compare, other than for him to get ready. I'm pretty sure he might need it when he comes back, but get ready for that pad that I wore back in 21 and earlier this year. So anything to get you back on the court sooner, even if it's a little uncomfortable.
Great, I think that's it. Appreciate that.